In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating the provisional cast on, which is used in the somewhere over the raglan jumper pattern. Make sure that you have a crochet hook between 4 to 6 millimeters. I have a 5 millimeter or US H8 crochet hook, but yeah, anywhere within this size range will be just fine. I've got my 6 millimeter needles. You'll also need some scrap yarn in a contrasting color to your main color that you'll be using. And the way we're going to start this is just by tying a knot at the tail, because this will help us identify the one side from the other side, essentially. So if you're not familiar with crochet, do not worry. There is no complicated crochet techniques involved with this. The main thing you'll need to know is a chain stitch, and then I'll show you the rest. So we're going to start with a slip knot. We're going to grab our crochet hook and we're going to chain just a few stitches. Doesn't really matter how many. So if you've never done a chain stitch before, you're going to grab your working yarn in your left hand and your crochet hook in your right hand. Unless you are left-handed, then you would do it the other way around. And you're going to wrap your yarn around the crochet hook, and then you're going to use a crochet hook to catch the yarn and bring it through the slip knot. We're going to do the same thing again now. Bring the yarn over and pull it through. Bring the yarn over and pull through. I find it helpful when pulling through just to hold on to the chains that you already have. Otherwise it's like you don't have a lot of tension and you're like, how do I do this? So yeah, make sure you just hold on to this just to give it some extra tension and pull through. So 4 stitches is enough, 4 chains. That'll be enough. Maybe I'll do 1 extra. Now we're going to bring our needle into the mix. You want to place the stitch here on the right side of your needle, and you've got your crochet hook in front. We're going to bring this working yarn behind the needle, wrap it around the crochet hook and pull through as we did before. So now we've kind of got our first stitch here on the needle. We're just going to do the same thing again, but so we have to bring the yarn around the back and loop it around the crochet hook and pull through. We're going to do the same thing again, bring it around, loop it around the crochet hook and pull through that stitch. And as you can see, we've already got a couple of stitches, 3 stitches now cast on to our needle. So we're just going to keep repeating this same, can be a bit tight, but the same motion all the way along till you have as many stitches as you need for your size. So around and through, so you can see you've got like your cast on edge here and you've got your stitches around, through. You can just kind of slide those down if you need. Round, round, through. So we're just going to repeat that all the way across. So I'm just going to do a couple more and then that'll probably be enough just to demonstrate this motion. Okay, so imagine you have enough stitches for your neckline. I'm just going to do these few because there's no point in doing more for me. I'm just going to do these few just to show you. So once you have the number of stitches you need for your size, cast it on. To end the provisional cast on, we're going to just do a few more chain stitches like we did at the start. So no, we're no longer wrapping around the needle, we're just wrapping around the crochet hook. So we're just yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I usually find 4 or 5 seems to do the trick. And I'm now going to grab some scissors and I'm just going to cut a tail and pull through to secure. And you can now see that I have my stitches, my provisionally cast on stitches or on the needle, and we can differentiate between the 2 sides because one side has that little knot and one side does not. So that's how we know this is the side we started on. So for your first row or round, you will be just knitting across all the stitches using your color A. I'm just going to knit across all the stitches. So just doing the knit stitch, no ribbing just yet. You get the idea. I've just worked one row of 1 by 1 ribbing, and so I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across. As I said, I'm working flat just for this video, but you'll be working in the round in the pattern. So I'm going to do a bunch of rows to kind of mimic the pattern, and I'll meet you back here once I've done all the ribbing so that I can show you how to unpick the provisional cast on and place the stitches onto another needle. Okay, I've done about 12 rows. You definitely need to do 16, but I got a bit lazy. You'll be able to see what I'm doing with this number of rows done. So what we're now going to do is transfer the provisionally cast on stitches onto another set of knitting needles. I just have a 4.5mm needle here, but you can use really any size that is the same or smaller than what you're using, so 6mm. We're going to start with the end of our provisional cast on, so that's the end that doesn't have the little knot. So that's where we started, this is where we ended. We're going to be unpicking this. So I'll just show you a little closer. I'm going to see this little knot here where we kind of fastened off, and I'm just going to pull that out. And from here, I'm going to be able to unravel this pretty easily. So I'm going to just pull this chain out very carefully so that I don't pull all the stitches out. Now you can see we have our first provisionally cast on stitch. So I'm going to grab my needle and I'm going to take the pink yarn here. I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to take this little loop. And I'm just going to pull them up without pulling them out. Just pull them up so that you can really see this first stitch underneath. And I'm just going to insert my needle and then I'm going to tug on this pink and just pull out one stitch. Okay, and you'll see I now got my first stitch on my needle and my next stitch is just here. So I'll take the tail and the loop and I'll just pull them up a little bit so that we can now see this next stitch to just insert my needle in, and I'm just going to pull it out. I'm going to do the same thing, just give it a little tug so we can see the stitch here and pull it out. And the same thing, give it a little tug. So we're just going to continue to do that all the way across. So you've just got to be a little bit careful, but it's not too difficult. And now we have reached the last stitch. So all we need to do is really just pull this out, to be honest. There we go. You can now see I've got live stitches on both ends. The next step is a 3 needle join. So you're going to fold over your work. Yours will obviously be in the round, but it's the same idea. And you've still got your working yarn attached, and you'll just take your 3rd needle and you'll begin knitting the first stitch from each needle together to join these live stitches. Create one live stitch for every 2 live stitches, if that makes sense. So we're just connecting essentially these 2 sections together, which will create the folded brim. And you can see I have now connected the stitches and we've got our folded brim. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching.